First of all, both of these covers get A+. What is with this Stockholm Syndrome romance we're trying to do here? And it was so similar that I'm just like, you know what, I don't like this book. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is CHIOMA or Chi, and today I'm going to be recommending books based on other books that you may have liked, based on whether they have similar storylines, similar plot lines, similar tropes, similar characters, similar characteristics. I'm going to be recommending books based on other books that you may have liked. But first, I want to give the hugest shout out to Ana Luisa Jewelry for sending me over some pieces. Yes, you heard that right. Ana Luisa Jewelry was kind enough to send me over some pieces to showcase their new Mother's Day sale. These jewelry pieces are a fantastic gift for yourself, for your mom, and all the ones you love in your life. I absolutely adore the ones that I was sent, and I'm also gonna get some pieces for my mom because my mom loves gifts and she loves more sentimental gifts. Like every single card me and my siblings have ever given to my mom, she still has it. So I absolutely love Mother's Day. Of course, I think most people do. I love a chance to celebrate my mom. My mom is my ride or die. She is my rock. She's one of the most inspirational people in my life. So just any chance to just like celebrate her is what I absolutely love. A link to all of these pieces, including a link to analuisa.com where you can get a 15% off discount for the current sale that they are having, will be in the description box. I absolutely adore this necklace. It's in this half moon kind of shape that is so adorable. And I also got these dangly kind of part hoop, part chain link earrings that I absolutely love. Another thing I love about Ana Luisa is that sustainability is at the center of Ana Luisa's core values. All of their products are 100% carbon neutral, which means 100% of the carbon emissions related to the products are offset. So we love that. And if you want to get something for your mom from Ana Luisa for Mother's Day, the last day for US shoppers to get their package in before May 9th is May 5th. Ana Luisa also has really fair prices. Some of their pieces range from $39 US to some higher end pieces, some higher end prices. For those of you who got a splurge and who got it like that, go ahead. There's really something for everybody. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description so you can go and browse the site and see what they have to offer and see all of the variety of ranges that they have. Take time, spend time, go ahead and browse and see what they have. Okay, so I'm gonna start recommending books based on books I love that I think are kind of similar in theme, plot, characterizing, writing, tropes, things like that. I'm gonna mention a book that I absolutely love that I read last year. No, I read it this year. I don't know, 2020 and 2021 have blurred together so much. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I read it this year, but why did I feel like saying last year? I got it last year, but I read it this year. And that is The Sound of Stars by Alechia. I adored this book. This was such a beautiful, such a fun debut. And it's sci-fi, it's YA sci-fi, and it's written by a Black female author, which I absolutely love. The cover is gorgeous. I absolutely love this book. It's about a young Black girl whose world has been taken over. Her world is Earth. Earth has been taken over by this alien race, and she's just kind of living in kind of like a dormitory type thing. Her parents are not who they used to be because they have been kind of brainwashed by this alien race, and this alien race has kind of just eliminated all forms of joy within this world. There are no movies, no TVs, no books, nothing that the humans can do that could possibly spike an uprising. And she's able to get through it by having her own secret library. Even though if this library was ever found, she would be executed on the spot. Like, it's completely illegal. So one of the aliens discovers her library. His name is M01, or Morris as he's referred to, because M01 is a mouthful, and they begin a journey together trying to reconcile what has happened to her Earth and her friends and her family, and how his people are involved with that and what they can do to kind of bring joy back into this world. I absolutely love this book. This was a debut book and it was so great. It's a great sci-fi story. There's a lot of romance, there's a lot of like turns and twists, and the ending, it's so interesting. I absolutely adored this book. So the book I'm going to recommend if you love this book is Winter's Orbit. So I recently read Winter's Orbit and I absolutely loved it, and it reminded me so much of The Sound of Stars. First of all, both of these covers get A+. This cover is gorge and this cover is also gorge, but these are both kind of a space, this one's more of a space opera. This one's set in Earth with sci-fi characters, so this one's set in space, but this one features a arranged marriage. So one of the emperor's least favorite grandsons has to go into an arranged marriage with a new widow from another sect of the universe in order to kind of increase positive relationships between these two worlds. And the man who has been widowed is also a suspect in an investigation of the murder of his former husband. So it goes through kind of investigating who is actually the murderer of his husband, as well as this overarching plot that is kind of getting in the way of the positive relations between these two boys' peoples, as well as their growing relationship. So it's really, really great. Again, I think the thing that I love is that it's such a great sci-fi romance romance balance. Like this one, I think the sci-fi is definitely the main plot with a side of romance, and this one I think it starts off more sci-fi than romance, then the romance really starts to be a more integral part of the story. So that's what I really love about them, the sci-fi romance. This one is a male-male romance and this one is a female-male romance, and they're both so fun. I enjoy these books so much. I love sci-fi romances. I love sci-fi world building. It just gets me more than even fantasy. So if you like Winter's Orbit, I feel like you'd really like The Sound of Stars, and if you like The Sound of Stars, you'd really like Winter's Orbit. The next recommendation I'm gonna make is one for a pretty popular book, and that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This book follows Poppy, who is considered the maiden. The maiden is basically someone who is kind of raised really pious and raised veiled. She's veiled. She's not allowed to talk to everybody. She's not allowed to speak to everybody. No one can see her face, things like that. So she's just kind of raised as this kind of almost like really, really pious figure in the world, and she doesn't really know too much about it, but she just knows that she's always been the maiden. This follows Poppy and kind of how she rebels against this title of maiden, how she's rebelling against everything she's ever known about the world she's been into, and how there's actually a lot of things that she hasn't been told, a lot of conspiracies that go under, and a lot of things she's been lied to that she is at the center of figuring out. So there's a lot that goes into this story. So there's a really, really strong romance. I say this one is a really more of a romance fantasy than like a fantasy romance, but this was a really enjoying read, and it's also a really fast read despite how thick it is. And the book I'm going to recommend if you liked From Blood and Ash is A Kingdom of Exiles by S.B. Nova. So this is also a very thick book. This was the longest book I actually read in 2020, and it was 600 pages. So it's actually not like hugely long, but it's also really long, which is another reason why it reminded me of this book. So it's about a girl on her 18th birthday. She actually ends up being snatched and kidnapped to go to the Fae world. She goes to the Fae world, and while she's in the Fae world, she is actually sent to this camp where she's trained to be a human soldier on the side of the Fae against a kind of tumultuous Fae kind of witch character. So she and the rest of the outcasts are kind of like in this world, in this train to be a soldier, and she kind of learns a lot of conspiracies, learns a lot about herself that she didn't know, but why she was snatched, why she was always been different, and also learns, also has some romance in this book, and it just felt very much like Blood and Ash, From Blood and Ash. It felt very like epic love story within the fantasy, and very kind of like, it's not as steamy, it's definitely not as steamy, but definitely like the characters and the friendships. While I was reading this, I was just like, I feel like I read something that's giving me similar vibes. Like the vibes are reminding me of A Kingdom of the Exiles. So if you liked From Blood and Ash, I'd say give A Kingdom of the Exiles a try. It was a really, really good book. I really, really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite books of last year. I actually gave A Kingdom of the Exiles 5 stars, and I gave this 4 stars. So do with that what you will. The next book I'm going to talk about is Radiance by Grace Draven. Radiance by Grace Draven was one of my favorite reads of 2020. It is such an adorable friends to lovers fantasy romance. It stars a girl who is a human, and she is also just one of the heirs to the throne, but not in line to ever have the throne. So she's one of the children of the throne, but she'll never actually get the throne. So she's always been kind of like just a political pawn. She knew one day she'd be married off to a neighboring peoples in order to ensure positive relationships between the humans and these neighboring peoples. So that day finally comes, and she's to be married off to this kind of like monster group, this other species of monsters that is known to the humans to be just really, really ugly and really, really scary and really, really vicious. So when the groom-to-be meets his wife-to-be, he's also equally disgusted by her exterior. And it kind of goes through their kind of friendship because they both find each other unattractive. So they do decide to be friends and have positive relationships, and how that kind of builds to a budding romance. So keep that in mind, because this next book is the exact same thing, and that is No Man Can Tame by Amanda Honfler. So this book, the premises are the same. If you liked Grace Draven's book Radiance, you're going to like this book just because there's something about the plot that you liked here, and it's the same plot here. Yeah, when it gets to the middle to the end, it kind of starts to deviate, but the whole arranged marriage, the kind of opposite creatures, the groom-to-be and the bride-to-be find each other disgusting. They kind of start a friendship to try to like be able to like, you know, live amicably together, and then how their romance starts. It's the same thing. It's so much the same thing that I almost didn't like No Man Can Tame, because I'm just like, I've read this book before. I've read this book before, and it was so similar that I'm just like, you know what, I don't like this book because it was so similar. But then I tried to be like, okay, if I had never read Radiance, if I had read this one first, I would probably like it just as much, if not like a little less, because I do like Radiance a little more, but I'm not sure if that's because I read it first. But if you like this one, you'll definitely like this one, because it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You might be annoyed because how much of the same thing it is, but you know, it's there. So I definitely recommend, if you like this book, you'd probably like this book. The next series I'm going to recommend are two series that I actually did not like. Okay, two series in which I liked the first book and then, no, okay. Let me just start. So this is the Shatter Me series, and if you're on booktube, you know what the Shatter Me series is about. It's about a girl. She touches people, she causes them pain, she gets captured, and then she meets a boy while she's captured, and she meets another boy while she is also captured, and Warren is kind of like the head of the kind of like counterculture? I don't think that's what I'm looking for. It's kind of head of the evil people. It's been a long time since I read this book, but he's not good. He's not good news, you know? And he's kind of the son of the head of the not good news people, and he captures her and wants to use her as a weapon, and then her and old dude who was in the cell with her, they try to like break out. It's kind of like a dystopian, it's definitely like a dystopian sci-fi-ish YA book. I hate this series. I hate this series. I don't like this series, okay? So keep that in mind. That's the Shatter Me series. And there is the Cricket Chronicles, the Cricket series. So this one I loved the first two books. The first two books. Then the third book, I had to DNF it. I had to DNF the third book because it reminded me so much of the Shatter Me series. So you see why I think you would like them? Does that make sense? The first two books in the Cricket series are great. So it's about this girl who's always been weird. You know, we know how YA goes. She's always been a little unusual. She's not like other girls in the way that she kind of like notices like things happen around her, and she's always on the run. People are always chasing her. She has like powers and stuff, all these things. So that's her life. And then one day she gets kidnapped. Well, she's in the midst of getting kidnapped, and then she gets kidnapped from her kidnappers. And then she finds out her kidnappers are actually like aliens, space like aliens, or like just like a different race. And she's being kidnapped to being taken back there because she's actually a princess. She's the daughter of one of the heads of a kind of really big important faction in this world. I read this series a long time ago, so who knows where that synopsis still stands. But I love the first two books in the series. Adore them. The first one 4 stars, the second one 5 stars, the third one DNF. Could not get through. You could not pay me. I was like, what is with this Stockholm Syndrome romance we're trying to do here? What is with YA and Stockholm Syndrome? Can we talk about it? Can we talk about it? Because it's not cute. It's not cute. It's not cute. I'm here to say it's not cute. But anyways, it wasn't cute. And it wasn't cute in the same way that I did not like the Shatter Me series. I just felt how the Shatter Me series was going, and I was just like, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it, and I don't want to be around it. So I DNF'd that series. I do think if you did like what that series was trying to do when it came to kind of like the sci-fi elements and the way kind of like the friendship and the romance in there was coming, you would really actually love this series, because I think the best part of the series are what Shatter Me was trying to do, and then the worst part of Shatter Me was what the last book was trying to do. Do you see what I'm saying? Give it a try. Let me try. Give it a try. Let me know. I feel like you like it. I'm just saying. And the last series I'm going to recommend, if you liked, is the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. So I love this series. This is my guilty pleasure series. So this series follows a brotherhood of vampires and their fight against the Lesser Society, which is kind of like a society that's hell-bent on ridding the world of these vampire kind of warriors and vampires in general, so they can forever feed off of humans. So that's them. And it kind of, each book follows one of the brothers in the brotherhood, this like superior, these like kind of warriors born into the race that are to protect all of the race. So it follows one of the brothers in the brotherhood and their mates, or whoever they choose to be a mate. So some of it is fated mates and some of it is not fated mates, but it's all really, really great book. The plot in the book, as well as the story, as well as the romance, complement each other so well. It's one of my all-time favorite paranormal romance series. I have 2 of the books right here, and I also have like all the rest of them right here, and I also have like more somewhere else. I love these books. They're such a fun read, and they're all in mass market paperbacks. I know people hate mass market paperbacks, but I love them because they're so cute. They're so cute. Look at these cute little books. Whatever, they're so cute. So I love this series, and if you love this series, I am going to recommend a throwback. I used to also love this other series, and it's really funny because the author of this series has beef with Cassie Clare, and that's my favorite fun fact about Sherilyn Kenyon. Her beef with Cassie Clare, because like, why y'all beefing? Why y'all beefing? One writes adult paranormal romance and one writes young adult books. I don't know anything about Cassie Clare's books. I don't know why they were beefing. I just know that they had beef. So Sherilyn Kenyon is the author of the Dark Hunter series, and I love these series. Yes, I hate the covers. Just like, I hate like real obvious like naked men on covers. Like these ones, at least it's so blue. Blue's one of my favorite colors. Like, and then everything's hidden. But this is just like, we are naked on these books, but I love books that follow kind of like friends, like a group of friends, and we get to see each and every one of their stories, because then I get attached to certain characters in other characters' books, and I can't wait, and I start to anticipate those characters getting their own like heroes and heroines, and I love it. And Sherilyn King and Stark Hunter series does the same thing. It's a little bit older. I don't think there's any more in the series, but she has 100 spin-offs the same way J.R.Ward does, so I definitely recommend giving these a try. They have such a very similar vibe, but I definitely do like the Black Dagger Brotherhood series better, but these ones do have a similar vibe. So if you like the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, I definitely recommend the Dark Hunter series by Sherilyn King. Okay, I think I did 5 book recommendations. If you like this book or series, then you will like these ones. I hopefully did 5. I really enjoyed these books because I feel like I read very similarly. I read a lot of sci-fi, I read a lot of romance, I read a lot of sci-fi romance, a lot of paranormal romance, a lot of fantasy romance. It's like my books are gonna have some crossover, so I love these recommendations. So definitely tell me if you've read any of these books. Do you think it's similar? If you read any of like the 2 books that I've recommended, if you like this, then you like that, let me know like what you think of it. Let me know if you think they're similar. Let me know if you think it's a good comparison, what you think of these books. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Don't forget to check out Ana Luisa Jewelry in the description box if you want to get 15% off. Their Mother's Day sale is happening right now, so if you're looking to get something a little cute for your mom, and I'll talk to you guys later.